Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Welcome back to the Big 12 Insiders. Appreciate everybody being in here. Whew, it is Big 12 title game review here on Big 12 Insiders. BYU versus Texas Tech. I think it's going to be a great football game, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to break down the keys for each side to be able to win and give my prediction. Make sure you stick around for that. I just think it's going to be an outstanding football game. A lot on the line, not just for each team, the Big 12 as a whole. We'll talk about that a little bit too. But before we get started, remember to like, follow, subscribe, continue to get in the comments, and always hit that notification bell so you know exactly when Big 12 Insiders content comes out. Let's get into this. So first off, Texas Tech, BYU, both first time in the Big 12 title game for each. Obviously, BYU is a fairly new member, only been a member for 3 seasons. Tech is a founding member. I actually played in the very first Big 12 football game. That was against Kansas State. But this is their first time in the conference championship. A lot of Red Raider fans are ecstatic. Not that BYU fans aren't, but this is a long time coming for Texas Tech. They've looked for opportunity to get into this game. They thought a couple of times they had the team to get in this game, and they have come up short. This year, they did not come up short. A lot of people predicted that the Red Raiders would be here. Not a lot of people did predict that BYU would be here. A lot of people thought that BYU was going to take a step back. Heck, look, you're replacing your quarterback last year from a 2-loss team. I mean, Jiminy Christmas, BYU, your quarterback. And not do you not just replace him. You had to replace him in July. That's when you replace him. True freshman quarterback steps in and gets the job and then does the job. Like I said, not a lot of people, myself included, didn't think BYU was going to be here. Thought that it was going to be one of those situations where, you know what, they're going to take a step back. It's going to take a while for the quarterback to get up to speed. How good is the quarterback even going to be? And that's not what we saw from this BYU team. They lived on physicality. Little did a lot of people know that their quarterback was going to lead the way in that physicality, get behind that defense. You get a coach that is a hard-nosed coach. You get a running back that, in my estimation, is the best in the conference. And lo and behold, here you are at 11-1 with an opportunity to not only win the Big 12, but bigger and better things. Let's kind of break that down. First off, what's at stake? Big 12 title. Look, everybody's goal at the beginning, I want to win a national championship. I want to get in the college football playoff. But the first goal that most schools across the country is to win your conference. Now, some might say, well, look at Ohio State. They didn't even get in their conference championship game last year, and they won the national title. But if you ask them, would they have liked to add that Big 12 title to their resume, they would have told you yes. So the Big 12 title is important. And I say Big 12 for them, Big 10 for Ohio State. But so if you'd have asked them, they'd have said yes. As far as these two teams, the first goal, let's win the Big 12. Well, now here's your opportunity to win the Big 12. Now, bigger things are at stake. The automatic college football, well, I say automatic, but if you're in the Big 12, if you win it, you're going to get into the college football playoff. Now, for BYU, it needs to win this football game to get in. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. The selection committee has disrespected the Big 12 enough, disrespected BYU enough to basically tell you that, yes, your resume is better. Yes, you have better wins. Yes, you have better losses. But because you're BYU and because you play in the Big 12 conference, we are going to disrespect you to your face and to the country and tell you that if you don't win the Big 12, you are not getting in. Now, that might seem harsh to some people, but that's the reality. The selection committee has said, yes, BYU, you have a better resume than Notre Dame and Miami and Oregon in a lot of cases. but you definitely have a better resume than those two. Yes, you have less losses, but since we start counting losses, and that's what we do in selective situations, we cherry pick everything. So since we cherry pick, we count losses and how good they are. Yeah, you have a better loss than either one of those two on the road to the number 4 team in the country. That's your one loss. Okay, so that's better than everybody else's. Okay, you have better win because, again, Utah is better win than anything that Notre Dame. Well, I guess not better than Miami because Miami beat Notre Dame, but it's right up there with it. But it's definitely better than anything that Notre Dame has won. So you have better wins, you have better losses, you have a better record, but we're still going to disrespect you. So BYU's got to win the game. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's your one path to getting in. Texas Tech, on the other hand, looking for its first Big 12 title. Like I said, it's one of the founding members, played in the very first Big 12 football game, and they are looking to win the Big 12 title. That is very important to Red Raider fans. I'm not saying that other things aren't important, but that's very important to win the Big 12 for Texas Tech fans. It's important. I mean, I haven't run into any big or Texas Tech fans that hasn't told me that this is big. And I'm going to run into a few of them tomorrow at the game. And there's going to be a ton of them there, just like there'll be a ton of BYU fans. This is a big game, people. It's a big game. And they're looking to lock up a bye in the college football playoff. They win this game, they're getting a bye. They don't win this game, it's everything to not getting a bye, not getting a home game, to being out of the college football playoff altogether. I know you would say, no, they'll never do that. Watch them. Watch. We've seen it before. We've seen it before. So if I'm Tech, I just win the game and move on. Just win the game and move on. Let's go to keys of the game. So first thing, I say it every week. I'll say it forever until the end of time. Controlling the line of scrimmage is always key to winning a football game. In this case, I am giving the advantage to Texas Tech. Look, Tech is number 1 in the country when it comes to stopping the run. 71 yards a game. They are tops in the country. They also happen to be 38th in the country when it comes to running the football. They run for 180 yards a game. So not only do they not let you run it, they run the football. It's one of those facts about Texas Tech. For so many years, you looked at them and they threw the ball all over the place. And they still do that, but they can also run the football when they want to, more importantly, when they need to run the football. This is a very, very physical football team that, because I say branded as a team that throws it all over the lot, that's because that's what they did. And for so long, that is what they did. They threw the ball, but they couldn't stop anybody, and they definitely couldn't stop anybody running the football. It's going to take longer than 1 year to change that perception, but this year, Tech does both. They run it, and they stop you. So that's the difference with this Texas Tech team. It's kind of one of the things that Red Raider fans have said for years. If we could just find a defense, well, they found one. They got one. And I don't want to hear the nonsense about how they got it. Who cares? They got one. Good for them. Good for them. Now, BYU, they're no slouch when it comes to running the football. I mean, they run the football for 170 yards a game. So they're right up there. I mean, they get after it physically. And also, they're 33rd in the country, only giving up 130 yards rushing a game. So it's not like they give up 300 yards rushing. This BYU team is very physical. And we saw them be physical against BYU against Texas Tech, for the most part in that first meeting. Now, what quarterback is going to be special? This is college football, or it's football in general. Most important position on the field, I'm giving the advantage to Bear Mortons. Now, the reason that I'm giving him the advantage is because when he is healthy, he is the better quarterback. He is the better quarterback. If it comes down to, okay, you got to throw the ball, he's the more accurate passer, the more accomplished passer. He is the better quarterback. Now, that's not to say that Bear Bachmeier is not any good. And I think a lot of times people on the internet When you say somebody is better than somebody else, it's automatically the defenses go, oh, you're saying he's not any good. I never said that. All I said is I believe one is better than the other. That's all. And there's no harm, no foul. Two things can be true. Both guys can be good, but one has to be better than the other. In my personal opinion, that's what I think. Now, I'll say this, though. First of all, Bear Bachmeier is a very good quarterback. And if he can get to running the football, which is what he couldn't do in that first game, then look out. Part of that is going to be if LJ Martin can run the ball. In the first game, the first time he carried the ball, you knew LJ Martin was not healthy. He got hit on that shoulder, and the way that he went down from that tackle, you could tell this guy's not healthy. He's not healthy. Well, he's healthy now, or at least he appears to be healthy. I don't know a guy that's not healthy that's running the football the way that he did against Cincinnati a couple weeks ago. Lord have mercy. If that's an unhealthy guy, if he's not healthy, let him do that in this game, not healthy against Tech. I think BYU will live with those results. Either way, I just think that Bear Morton is the better quarterback. I think Bear Bachmeier is going to have to do his thing to be able to win. I mean, to put it bluntly, I think he needs to play the game of his life. I think Bear Bachmeier has to play the game of his life because it's going to be tough to block that front. Now, when I say that, some BYU fans are going to be, oh, come on, Big B. He's not going to have to play out of his mind. I didn't say play out of his mind because I'm not a person that says somebody, you've got to play out of your mind. Just play up to the peak of your ability. That's all. Now, I'm saying that like that's some easy task. I'm not saying it's easy, but he has to play the best football game if the circumstances are all the same. I mean, it's a football game. Crazy things can happen. But for them to win, I believe Bear Bachmeier has to play the game of his life. He's got to be able to throw the football, run the football. Now, he needs help. He can't do it alone. He needs help. But I believe that's what's going to have to happen because I think he's going to be required to throw the football. And if you really look at the last game, there were some opportunities. There wasn't a ton for BYU, but there was a few where his teammates didn't help him. They got to be able to do that in this football game. Now, Tech took away everything that they wanted to do running the football, including him. They just said, nope, you're not going to run it. You are not going to run the ball. And I suspect they're going to do the same thing. They're going to say, you want to beat us? Fine. Beat us on the outside. But you are not going to run the football. We'll see if that still holds true. As far as special teams, both are pretty good as far as kickoff returns. It's Tech leads the conference. BYU is third. So, the hidden yardage, the punt return yardage, and where if you can get people inside and make them go long fields, down the balls if you have to punt inside the 20-yard line, inside the 10-yard line. Who's going to win the hidden yardage situation? That's always a key to these games, especially in college football, making teams drive the length of the field, because it's college kids. They make mistakes from time to time. They're not professional. So the more, or I should say, the longer that you can make them drive the football, the more inclined they are to turn the football over, have a penalty, get behind the sticks, whatever the case may be. So who is going to win the hidden yardage? That, I think, is a huge key to this game. Look, I usually point out turnover margin as being a big factor, and it is. It always is. The difference is both of these teams are tied for fourth in the country at plus 1.1 a game. So I believe turnover margin is going to be a factor, but trying to separate them before the game, you can't do that because they both, like I said, they're both tied for fourth at plus 1. So turnover margin will be a key, but to try to predict one or another before the game when they're both tied and they're both so good at it would be silly. Now, as far as the prediction goes, look, I think both teams are going to get physical. I talked a minute ago about LJ Martin. He was not healthy in that football game several weeks ago in Lubbock. He just wasn't. He will be in this game. I look for him, BYU, to try to get him involved early. Probably, if it were me, I wouldn't necessarily try to run it down their throat. Little play action, screen game, to try to loosen up that Texas Tech front seven, that defense early on, because they're going to be looking to stop the run. Don't just run it in there just to say we're going to run it. Be smart about it. Be smart about it. Tech, on the other hand, Tech's going to try to punch him and knock him out quickly. That's what Tech does. They're going to try to knock BYU out of this thing and take the fight to them early, which is great. I enjoy the punch, the counter punch, all of that stuff. I think physicality, I say it every week, is going to be a big part in this football game. Can BYU block Texas Tech's front? That, to me, I think that's the game. Can they block them? If they can, it'll be a game. If they can't, it'll be a blowout. I'm going that far with it. If BYU can block Tech's front, this will be a close game because they'll be able to move the football. If they can't block them, Tech is going to blow them out. I'll be point blank and say that. They will blow them out because I don't believe that while BYU is going to be able to slow down Tech, they're not going to be able to stop them. And I think Tech has the advantage when they have the football. Not that BYU's a slouch on defense. I'm not saying that at all. I just think Tech has more weapons. They can spread you out, and then they can run it, and they can throw it. But if BYU cannot block the Tech front, and you're asking Bear Bachmeier to beat them in the air, I think that you're asking for trouble. Again, but I did say this, and I do mean it. If Bear Bachmeier plays the game of his life, again, not some out-of-body experience, just playing up to the top level of his ability. We see guys do that. So it's not like you're asking him to do something that he's not capable of doing. You're just saying for them to win, he's got to be at peak performance. Well, hey, this is big-time college football, man. I mean, when you want to get to the Big 12 title game, you got everything on the line and you lay an egg? No. This is where stars become stars. This is where the best players play their best. So if you want to be considered one of the better players in the country, this is the biggest game of his life. It's the biggest game basically for anybody on either team. It's the biggest game that they've played in. Well, go be a star. And that's what I'm looking for both teams. Who's going to be a star? Who's going to make the plays when the chips are down? Who's going to be that guy that turns the tide if momentum shifts one way? Who's going to say, nope, and shift it back the other direction? That's the difference. That's what I'm looking for. But ultimately, I just think Tech is a better football team. Ultimately, I think that while I think the game will be close at halftime, I think Tech kind of does what it does. It wears on you and wears on you and wears on you. And sooner or later, you break. Sooner or later, you can't hold up. And they just keep pouring it on and pouring it on. And I think that's what's going to happen in this football game. I have Tech 34-17 over BYU. Look, it would be in my rooting interest for BYU to get in or to win the game, because that means two teams from the Big 12, more than likely, would get into the college football playoff. So me being nonpartisan and don't really have a vested interest, that's what I should be rooting for. I'm just rooting for a good game. I don't care how it turns out. I just want it to be a really good football game. And who knows? Maybe some stuff happens. I don't know. I mean, the committee has kind of said what they've said, so it is what it is. But I just want to be a great football game. I'll be there. So if you're there and you see me, make sure you stop me, say hi. I'll be more than happy to talk to you. I'm not some celebrity or anything like that. I'm just a normal dude. So if you see me, just say, hey, what's up, Big B? I'll be more than happy to talk to you, man. So looking forward to seeing and being around some people. It's my first Big 12 championship game. I was sick last year and wasn't able to go. I've been to them before. Don't get me wrong. And don't remind me, I actually played in one in 1998. Let's not bring that up. Let's not bring it up. But I've been to them before, just not as part of the quote unquote media. Please don't call me a media member. That drives me insane. I'm not that guy. I don't want to be that guy. Don't want to be. So, man, this was a great season. I'm looking forward to an outstanding football game. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you. I will have a lot. I'm sure I'll be doing a couple of lives from the game, either before, during, after, all that good stuff. Should be fun. Should be a wild one. I will talk to everybody soon.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.